back again like we never even left. I'm back here with Hunter from Apples and Grapes Media, episode 57, 58. I don't know why this is 57, but 58 of the Sleeper Sports Media podcast. Hunter, how's it going? How's it feel to be back?
Man, awesome. Just got back into PA yesterday. I was gone for 2 weeks in beautiful state of Hawaii. I'm freezing cold now. It's raining today. I'm used to, just the shorts and, everything like that. But I'm glad to be back. There's a lot of action to talk about. I feel like I missed so much. But yeah, let's get right to it.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on. UFC this tonight. WrestleMania is getting its shape and what we're going to get there in April. Great episode of SmackDown last night, and of course, I'm excited for it. You think it's a joke, the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. I think Jake is saving and has done a lot to save and revive the sport of boxing. And then, of course, we will get into some Three Legacies Wrestling, the Downtown Showdown, their upcoming event at the end of March. We can start with the big one tonight. We'll be back at 8 for the watch along. We will do UFC 299, headlined by the Bantamweight Championship, Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Let's run down the main card and let me get your more in-depth thoughts since you already did a short with your predictions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first one, Peter Yan versus Song Yudong. When I saw, I don't, you know me, I'm not the biggest fan yet. Don't know too many of the guys, but the fact that I know 4 out of 5 guys on this main card made me feel pretty good. What are your thoughts on the opening match on the main card?
Yeah, I'm bringing up Peter Yan's record just to recap his last couple fights. So he's coming off 3 straight losses. He lost that Aljo fight. He lost to O'Malley, which is kind of controversial. A lot of people thought he beat O'Malley anyway. I could see it either way. And then he lost to Merab. Merab's the only person that made Peter Yan look like average thus far. He made Peter Yan look pretty basic. So I think coming off those 3 losses, Peter Yan's in a super desperate spot. Even though those were all the top guys, but I think he can get it done versus Song Yudong. Let me just check out Yudong's record. I don't know if he's fought anybody in the top 5 yet, whereas Peter Yan's, all his last fight has just been, championship caliber, either championship fights or championship caliber. Let's see here. Yeah, stylistically, it's great. Peter Yan's pretty well-rounded everywhere. Song Yudong's still only 26 years old. He's one of those alpha male Uriah Faber guys. So his last 2 were, he beat Chris Gutierrez and Ricky Simon, which doesn't blow anybody's hair back. And Song Yudong's already lost to Corey Sandhagen. I didn't realize that. But yeah, I think Peter can get it done. He's super well-rounded. They both are. Song Yudong has a lot of power for 135, which, he can always catch somebody. Peter Yan has a very good technical boxing and defensive style in the stand-up, so he's hard to just catch clean. Like O'Malley wasn't really able to too often either. But yeah, I think Peter Yan gets that done. It'll be close, but I think he bounces back.
Yeah, I know Keenan and I, we both agreed that Peter would take the win here in the first match of the main card. The next one, a welterweight bout, Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Your rundown and thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I keep thinking about I keep checking in with the odds on this one. Gilbert Burns is still the underdog, which is wild. JDM only has those 2 losses, but Burns hasn't lost anybody outside like the top 5 in forever either. His last fight, he lost to Bilal Muhammad, but that was a decision. Bilal Muhammad's probably getting that title shot next anyway, so Burns is right there. He lost to Khamzat, which everybody thinks is like the next coming of Khabib. Lost to Kamaru Usman for the title. So Burns hasn't lost anybody outside those top few guys either. Yeah, JDM has been on a tear. I know he's like one of those Aussie prospects who's supposed to be really good. I'm not sure if he trains with Izzy and Volk, but he's right there in the same region. But yeah, I think Gilbert Burns gets it done. He's so well-rounded too. I think he could choke out JDM. I think he could, outstrike him. It's going to be close. I don't see why Burns is such a underdog at this point, but I think Gilbert Burns gets it done.
Yeah, I think Keenan and I, we went the same way. This match was the one that I didn't know who really either of these guys were. But I guess that's the beauty of getting into, UFC and MMA and learning everything. And how the cards build and play out and all that. So the
Yeah.
third match, I did know Kevin Holland. I've watched him. I've seen him on one of the couple fights that I have watched in the last year or so.
Mhm.
Holland and Michael Page. I believe Keenan said that this would be potentially match of the night. If not this, then the co-main, and then if not the co-main, the main event, obviously. But he said that probably knockout of the night is either coming from the co-main or match of the night being this one.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is super exciting. I think Kevin Holland or Michael Venom Page had a quote. This might be the first ever podcast during a match because they both like to talk so much.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see everything that goes there. They've already had some interesting interactions with the weigh-ins and everything like that. Michael Venom Page does his classic Venom taunt there, and Holland shuts it down with a bigger version and then aims the finger guns at him. But that's gonna be both of those guys have so much personality. And I mean, it's the debut. It's been a long time coming. The debut of Michael Venom Page, longtime Bellator guy. He had that one fight in BKFC where he lost to Mike Perry. So he's beatable, especially in striking, even though that's his specialty. Kevin Holland, though, super well-rounded. It'll be interesting to see if he just wants to test himself in the stand-up with MVP or if he'll go in with a smarter strategy. I think he definitely has the ability to submit him. Whether he'll go that route or not, we'll have to see. But I think Kevin Holland can do it. MVP certainly has the tools to beat him, but I think Kevin Holland has the deeper tool bag and definitely, just has he's more versatile and, can get it done multiple ways.
Yeah, that's definitely what Keenan was saying. The debut of Michael Page in the UFC, it's going to be great. Hopefully, he has a good fight. And this is potentially fight of the night.
Yeah,
We got a comment from Next Shift over at the Hardcore Sports Network. MVP and Kevin Holland is going to be more trash talking, and I'm here for it. I'm excited to witness it. Thanks for joining us again. I know you were here last night whenever Keenan was on, and hopefully we'll see you in the watch long later tonight. The next one is, and I did know Dustin Poirier, obviously, the co-main of the night, Dustin Poirier and Benoit Saint Denis. Like Keenan said, and we talked last night. I'm excited for this one just as much as I'm excited for the main event. Big Dustin Poirier fan from what I've seen, and then obviously big Sean O'Malley fan just because of his ties to him being on Impulsive and just what he is as an entertainer and a young fighter. And from what interviews I've seen weeks leading up to the fight, he's already matured and he's starting to take the champ life serious. And Keenan said last night the dawning of the next Conor McGregor.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because he was actually getting booed a lot because this fight's in Miami, heavy Hispanic fan base. So Cheeto has that crowd behind him. So there are a lot of Cheeto chants, just a lot of Sean O'Malley haters in general. But he's like a Kanye, like whether you're talking about him good or bad, like he's polarizing, but he's being talked about. So, But no, back to this one though. Dustin Poirier and Benoit Saint Denis, two Frenchmen, getting after it. Man, I just cannot emphasize this enough. Dustin Poirier did not have to take this fight at all. Like he's an absolute dog. I think he's sitting like the number 2 or 3 rank.
I think
right now.
It's 4.
But Benoit Saint Denis is only ranked like 12. Hasn't fought anybody inside the top
3. Yep. 3 and 12, like you said. Yep.
Yeah. So Denis, like Poirier does not have to take this fight at all. So that's massive props. You got guys like Michael Chandler just sitting, waiting for his daddy Conor to tell him when to fight.
Yeah.
And Poirier just taking, like, there's so many of these hungry, young, up and coming 155ers coming. Like you have at UFC 300, Arman Sarukian fighting Charles Oliveira for the number 1 contender spot. Just all these dogs, this new wave of 155ers. And then you have this old guard still kind of at the top with Poirier, Chandler, Gaethje, obviously Islam still. So again, Poirier did not have to take this fight, but he's an absolute dog. So I'm going to give him props, but I think he does lose this one. I think Benoit Saint Denis is a tank. He is a warrior. I think he stopped like his last 4 or 5 opponents. This could be, I've seen a lot of the rumblings, like this could be one of those where Poirier shows Denis that there's levels to this game, why he's been around for so long, why he's been at the top. But also, people said that about Ilya versus Volk too, and we saw what happened there. I think
Yeah.
Benoit's similar to Ilya in that he fights to his level of competition. So I think he's gonna have no problem unloading that arsenal on Poirier. I think he could stop him, and it would be the first time ever Poirier drops 2 MMA fights in a row if he does lose. Um, so I don't know. I love Dustin Poirier. I don't want him to lose. I'd love to see him get it done, but as far as just prediction goes, I think Benoit gets it done.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that was the first one that the three of us, bringing Keenan back into it, that we disagree on. But hopefully that's the only one as we get to the main event, the fight that everyone's going to be there for. The one that
Yes.
I'm excited for: Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Sean, from whenever I first saw him and everything on Impulsive, I just seen like a young kid that's getting up there and starting to break into UFC and do all that, and then now I'm seeing him as a champion. And like I said, I watched an interview leading up to the fight and everything. He's doing the interview in a Sprinter van, talking about how he's gonna get rid of the Lambo and he's gonna start to take everything in his life more serious, and stay focused on being in camp mode and fight mode, and having fight dates so he can stay training and stay consistent with that training to avoid going back to his party days and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see their first one, so I know he was kind of breaking it down what happened the last time, and he said that during the press conference, Cheeto said that he's going to open the fight with a coming for that leg.
Yeah.
So hopefully Sean can plan for that, and I want to see this be as good as what I think it can be for Sean.
Yeah. I mean, Cheeto has never been stopped. He's never been knocked out or submitted in a fight. He's never even been dropped, I don't think. So he's super durable. I think his chin rank on the game's like 99. Like he's insanely durable guy. But I think Sean is, he still claims he technically never lost that fight, even though he did. It was a TKO. He said he would take the L if Cheeto, like admitted that was his game plan. Like, oh, I specifically meant to kick you there and stop the
Right.
nerves and all this. But he
Yeah.
thinks it was like a freak accident. But that's still part of the fight game,
Yeah.
I mean, but I think he ramps it up. I think it's going to be a crazy showing for Sean. I love Cheeto, and I'd like to see him do it, but I don't think he will. I think because he's so durable, I don't know that we'll get the clean knockout or TKO like we saw versus Aljo with Sean. So in that case, I just think he tunes him up for 5 rounds, just a beat down. Cheeto will get his shots. It'll be interesting to see if Cheeto tries to take it to the ground at all. I mean, Peter
Yeah.
Yan was successful with that a little bit. Sean was also successful in getting back to his feet. Cheeto's not known as a grappler by any means. He's very much willing to stand in there, and he's just such a slow starter. A lot of his finishes, even the finish versus Dominic Cruz, he only stopped him in the 4th round. So, I mean, he takes a while. He seems like stuck in the mud out there. I think he's just making his reads and stuff, but he doesn't do much for the first 2, sometimes even 3 rounds. But so if I'm Sean O'Malley, I'm not a fighter or a trainer or anything like that, but
Right.
he should come out super hot.
Yeah.
The very first round, even especially that second round, like he can come out the first round, make his own reads and stuff, but that second round, he should come out guns blazing and just tune him up, feints, everything, just to overwhelm that central nervous system of Cheeto. He doesn't know what's coming, and then just start tuning him up from there. I think he has the speed advantage, accuracy. I think he has the advantage overall on the feet. I don't know. It's tough to say with Cheeto's ground game. We haven't seen it displayed too much as of late, at least. But I think Sean O'Malley beats him up. If he doesn't get the finish, I think he's just gonna work him masterclass on the feet for 5 rounds.
Yeah. That's great. I'm ready for an exciting, hot crowd, and for it to be. I like that, like you said, you broke it down. Of Cheeto's going to start out slow, probably, and then like
Very
Sean
slow.
should come out guns blazing, fire, and
Fast.
just everything. So I'm excited for this one. Can't wait to call it with you tonight.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll run down the prelims real quick since we're here.
Sure.
So we got, where is it?
Start with that's the main event of the prelims. There we go.
Yep,
Adrian
here we
Munoz,
go.
Tyler Phillips.
Yep. Yeah, so we got, like you said, Pedro Nuno, Kyler Phillips, coming off a win, coming off a loss. So that in a bantamweight bout. Then we got a lightweight, the number 6 versus
Yeah.
number 11.
Yeah, I want to say something about that quick. Just Gamrot is a
Yep.
beast. RDA is a legend, obviously, but that's another one where Gamrot's favored like -400 or something crazy. I do agree he'll
Yep.
win. I feel like those, yeah. I mean, if you're a betting man, maybe take RDA at that plus 275. I don't think he wins Gamrot, but you just can't count RDA. He's floated throughout his whole career between 170 and 155, back down to 155 for this. So who knows? I mean, Gamrot has been the more like active, successful fighting these contenders. He's another one of those 155 guys like that'll probably see a Poirier or Gaethje soon.
Right.
Just not right now. But yeah, I think Gamrot wins, but that's another one of those odds surprised me a little bit.
Then we got a women's flyweight bout.
Yeah, so that's former. She's a Pennsylvania native, Caitlin, formerly known as Chukagian, but I think she recently got married, so that's
Okay.
what that name changed there. Is always interesting for the UFC ladies. But Caitlin, how do you pronounce it now, Sir Minara or something like that,
Yeah.
versus Macy Barber. Miranda Maverick referred to Macy Barber as the UFC star girl, which is kind of a subtle shot there, but both great. I think Macy Barber is the favorite. I think she does get that one there.
Okay. Very cool. The odds there are Sarah Minara plus 142, Barber minus 170.
Okay, that's
When we
pretty close.
get to, like you said, the main event of the prelims, the
Yes.
number 5 versus number 7 in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, that's massive. Big Curtis Blades. This one's interesting size-wise because Almeida is, relatively speaking, very light for a heavyweight. He doesn't come
Yeah.
in. He comes in around like 220, 230, whereas the heavyweight allowance is 265. And I think Curtis probably has to cut to make 265. So naturally, way bigger guy, Curtis Blades, but Almeida is shredded. He's a jiu-jitsu wizard. Curtis Blades is interesting. This is actually a really interesting fight. I did pick Almeida, but on the ground, usually you're used to these heavyweights just slugging it out, throwing bombs, but these are
Yeah.
both very good ground heavyweights. So Curtis
Okay.
Blades, great wrestler. Almeida, great submission artist. So something's got to give there. That might be one where, the ground game kind of, they like even each other out, and then it ends up being a
Right.
striking war. But I
Yeah.
think Almeida has all the tools to choke out Blades as well.
Okay. Yeah. So that's gonna.
Super
We
interesting.
will. Yeah. We're gonna start from the prelims at 8 when our live stream goes live, and that will be, we will bring you more action for UFC 299 later tonight.
Cannot wait.
So from there, one side of the combat sports world to the next. SmackDown last night was, this was the first show that you've watched in like 2 weeks, you said?
2 weeks, yeah, I missed 2 straight weeks, being away. You just catch stuff on social media, but you don't
Yeah.
get everything, and especially not in real time with Hawaii being 5 hours behind. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I know
yeah, last night
you.
was my first one in 2 weeks. It was awesome to be back and just sit and able to watch it with no distractions.
Yeah, I know we talked a couple times. You were like, "Oh, I have to watch SmackDown at 3 o'clock if I want to watch it." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
wow." Yeah, at that point, just wait for the replay to come to Hulu or whatever.
I know. It's like middle of
But
the day. Crazy.
the was a I enjoyed SmackDown last night. I was 10, 15 minutes late to watching it, so I had to restart it since I had it recorded.
Mhm.
And then kind of missed the tag match, but I saw the very ending, and then I jumped on Twitter and saw that KSI was there and took an RKO from Randy Orton, which was
Let me
hysterical.
just say, he sold that like a veteran, man. He sold
Yeah.
that RKO better than some active guys sell for other people. So, I mean, maybe it was his one time to shine, so he really went all out, but he did great, I think.
And it's funny because he tweeted the video of it and said, why do I always get beat up when I come to WWE? And it's funny because it was in Dallas last night, the American Airlines Center, or Arena, whichever one it is. But when KSI, his first appearance in WWE was at WrestleMania last year, AT&T Stadium, and he took the table spot from Seth. So both times in Dallas, both times he ends up, injured or on a stretcher, and they reenacted the iconic picture of them backstage. But before that, they did announce that Prime is now the official hydration partner of the WWE. and UFC. So TKO is in their prime. It is also the first ever Center Ring brand sponsorship, and it will start for all the premium live events, and it's going to start at WrestleMania 40. I saw a lot of people hating on the logo that they chose, which I mean, it's the same Ice Pop logo that's on the UFC mats.
Yep.
And so I think that's just people hating just because it's Logan Paul.
Sure. Sure.
The things I noticed that as Logan was making the announcement, he's getting better on the mic is with his cadences and sounding confident on the mic in that setting. The crowd was trying to do the what chant to him, and he just wasn't having it. And then he let it happen, and then yep, exactly, he powered through it, and then brought out KSI, obviously. Yeah, I mean, just from there, it was great. And then, of course, Randy Orton's music hits, comes out, sneaks into the ring, RKO, drags KSI's body over the Prime logo. Loved it. So going in that direction, we thinking Randy Orton and Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the U.S. Championship.
Oh man, I hope not. That's what it seems to be. I think I don't know. I love the matchup itself. I don't love Randy with that title. It seems to diminish him a little bit. I feel like he's always has been, always should be in that heavyweight, at least conversation, even if it's not, he's up for it. I think him going after the United States title is a little weird. Because it's like, yeah, if he loses, that's fine, but you don't want him to have that title, I don't think. But it's strange. So it's cool if Logan wins and then he has that, under his belt victory at Mania over Randy Orton is massive for him personally. But yeah, I'm not super crazy about that. But yeah, just with the KSI, everything like that, and what you said about Logan, I like that he was in a suit this time instead of like a backwards hat and a tank top or whatever. Like the suit was very dapper, very classy, almost Gunther-esque. And then yeah, it's funny because you see the development, but then you see not like mess ups necessarily, but like things where it's not perfect, but it's almost like not like sweet, but it's still to see the little bit of green still is like, oh, okay, like still have to give him grace in that. But yeah, definitely improvements. I like the suit, all the stuff with Prime is massive. Yeah, that's crazy. I saw like a lot of the hate stuff about just like a canvas, logo in general for them. But I've seen Chris Van Vliet speak on this too before about, comparing it to the UFC. Like UFC has tons of canvas promotions and it doesn't take from it at all.
Exactly.
People think it's a distraction, but it's like, if you're just staring at that, then like, I don't know. Then it's just a boring match or whatever, but I don't think it takes from fights. I don't think it'll take from matches either.
Yeah, no, that was one of the big things that I saw as well. And I'm like, okay, people that are saying that, I think you're just thinking about it too much and looking for any reason to hate on Prime coming into the WWE. Yeah, I mean that I didn't realize that was going to open the show, and whenever I saw that, I was a little bummed that I missed it and then had to go back and restart it and everything. But then from there, we get the tag match: Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. It was a good match. Whenever I restarted it and then I came back live, I missed it. So I didn't see what the result was, but I see that the WWE.com, it has that Randy Orton stole Logan's brass knuckles. So I guess did Logan come back out and then kind of try to interfere a little bit. I did see a clip of him jumping back into the ring and taking them both out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, at the very, very end. Yeah, he come back. Okay. I think he came back with the knuckles and Randy like stopped it or something. Like he wasn't able to use them. And then he did re-enter and was able to hit him. That was kind of a funny shot. The double hit there was kind of silly, but it was cool that he came back in. Yeah, I like that matchup, Randy and Kevin Owens as a tag team. And then, how I feel about A-Town Down Under. Love those guys together. So yeah, that was a great, superstar studded tag match right off the jump.
Yeah, that was one of the they only advertised four matches or segments, I guess, for SmackDown last night. One of them being Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross. Whenever I got back to live, it was right as this one started, and I just walked right back out to the kitchen, got more food, then came back in, and then was scrolling on Twitter to catch up on everything else that I missed. And then finally I looked up and AOP's in the ring and it ends in a no contest. I saw BFAB came out, Scarlett. They're playing that whole thing of these two teams going back and forth, and I just don't get it. Um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
get
get
what
it
they're
either.
doing with Cross and AOP and everything, and then now Bobby Lashley's alone. The Street Profits are are with him. They're not with him. Then they help. They don't help. So
Yeah.
it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know you're a carrying Cross guy, but I don't see it. I don't see
Yeah.
it in him. I know Keenan had said that a lot of his TNA stuff was really good, and what they're doing now just isn't working.
Yeah, it's interesting, that he's getting such the repackage. Like, I just wonder how they pick and choose, you know what I mean? Like, who to
Yeah,
focus on, because a lot of people think Theory needs, like, a little bit of a re-jump. I think they're doing that a little bit with Waller, but he still has the same theme, still has all that, but for me, it's more confusing the Street Profit stuff. Like, were they gonna go heel? They changed their theme, and then when they interrupted, it seemed like their old song again.
yeah, yeah.
So, it's like that
Yeah.
you just wonder,
It
like, how they make these decisions because it's like, what would
exactly.
make them revert if that was already the plan? Like, some of that stuff seems confusing when you are dealing with pro wrestling, but yeah, I don't give Karrion Kross as much hate as a lot of other people. I think a lot of my respect comes from he's into martial arts, like, that side of
Mm,
it. So, I like anybody that likes both. Um,
right.
yeah, he had amazing TNA stuff. Him in NXT was so good with the shaved head, and he seemed like a real menace in NXT. I didn't watch it then, but I've seen old stuff, and, like, a lot of
Right.
people now talk about he should shave his head and go back to that. I don't even know who that old guy that's with him is. He doesn't add any value
Yeah.
whatsoever.
No
It
idea.
was
Yeah.
AOP is so funny because they look Samoan anyway. I'm like, are these just extended relatives of the bloodline? Like, they look like maybe they're, maybe they're not, but they kinda look Samoan to me, but, um,
Yeah. I saw them one time at a live event when I was up in State College,
oh,
and
okay.
I mean they were. This was when they were with Seth, so they were his lackeys and whatnot.
Right.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
so they kinda get the vest on and stuff like that. I'm not mad at the Cross, that whole faction. I don't really understand the guy. Scarlett's cool, of course, but yeah, I'm more confused by the Street Profit angle than anything.
yeah, and yeah, like you had said about them, were they going to turn heel, the new music, and then back to the old music, and now
Yeah,
they're
very strange.
just kind of there, and then they're not there.
Mhm.
I agreed 100% on that. And then also it's later in the show, but I guess, and I missed this as well because I was coming from out getting food. But I guess Bianca was saying something about someone else, and the way she was speaking about whoever it was, someone on Twitter compared it to how Drew McIntyre was speaking on Jay before he turned heel. So now
Uh,
they're teasing a heel turn with Bianca, and everyone's like, "Oh, they'll never turn her heel because they're trying to make her, the next John Cena and always be a face and blah blah blah." The kids, whatever. Um,
yeah, I don't think she works as a heel, like, she's not that great on the mic anyway, I don't think. She's okay, she's definitely obviously super athletic, super great wrestler.
yes,
Okay on the mic. I feel like they've tried to make her heel before. Like, it was very confusing what they were doing with Charlotte when they brought her back because she gets booed and cheered. So I feel
yeah,
like they tried to make Bianca like the heel in that versus Charlotte because they had Bianca in all black for several weeks, had her
right,
attacking after the match, even way back to when she like cut Becky Lynch's hair. Do you remember
right,
that?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think they've tried before. It doesn't work. So I don't know. So it's like even if they were trying to have, if the idea was have heel Bianca join Montez, but now we're thinking they're not
yeah,
even heels anymore anyway. So it's all, I
yeah,
don't think the Bianca
yeah,
thing works, but just the Street Profits, that stuff alone is, enough to figure out, much less add
yeah,
another piece that doesn't
yeah.
work anyway.
I
So it's weird.
I think if they would have done that right away, they would have had Bianca along with the Profits and Bobby Lashley. It would have been,
Yeah.
it maybe we could have seen a clearer path to what they were trying to do, but then they just brought BFAB out and had BFAB
Right.
join. So
There's no way they
now it's
could do
just
that
like
and Bianca.
it's just like what I yeah, there's a lot of things that are up in the air and probably not a good thing to be in going to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But what is a good thing going into WrestleMania is Tiffany Stratton is doing fantastic as she's gotten caught up to the main roster. She beat Michin. Um, Her moonsault is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see her and Charlotte Flair in a match somewhere, some way down the line, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they didn't advertise her her and this match for the night. I think it would have drawn more eyes had this been, advertised like graphic wise, being on, social media and everything like that.
Mhm.
Great match. I enjoyed this one. After beating Naomi last week and now another win. Hopefully she finds herself onto the WrestleMania card in some fashion.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are predicting and um, dream booking her versus Bianca at WrestleMania, which I think would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Any way that they could do it. I feel like it's a little tricky. I mean, they could just add like to do a singles women's match outside of the championships for Mania.
Right.
It's probably tough to pick who gets that spot.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bianca would be worth it. Or they could just do, like a random rumble, like a 10
Yeah.
women's rumble there, just to include some of those people. Tiff definitely deserves a spot in that case. I mean, yeah, she's just been on this trajectory ever since the Rumble. They've brought her on, and then she hasn't
Yes.
been, I don't think, back down NXT since.
Nope.
Where
Nope.
Braun
She's
Breaker still
officially.
appears
Yep.
on
She's
both.
been officially on SmackDown for a couple weeks now, if not a
Yeah.
month or maybe a little bit more than that. No, it was back and forth with right after the Rumble, and then they brought her up
Right.
and signed, and her and
So,
Naomi signed their SmackDown contracts. And now Braun Breaker being on SmackDown, I can't wait for him to make his final move up to the main roster and for it to be more permanent. Yeah, I mean it. From there, that Tiffany Stratton match was I enjoyed that really well, and then we went into Dragon Lee and Angel Garcia with that whole side thing. I just, me, I'm not a fan of these two sides going at it, and just
mhm,
it's the same thing every week. They just cycle through the members of this group and that group, and um, it's just it's not working on with these two factions like it is the Judgment Day or the Bloodline, and how they've pushed them and the stories that have gone into there, and now they're trying to really think they're trying to center everything around groups and factions, which is it's great. It's great, but they got to
mhm.
do more to give the stories to the other ones and not just the main two being the Bloodline and Judgment Day.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. It's just been, and like Rey Mysterio is supposed to come back soon, which,
Yep.
nobody's going to complain about, but it's going to be more of, one of them, Santos will probably attack him. And they, like you said, they just kind of recycle a lot of that same stuff. I
Yeah.
don't mind it. It fills space. Like, I like them all kind of separately, but yeah, it
Yeah.
is a lot of the same, just rinse and repeat with
Yeah.
that stuff.
They did advertise that Ray will be on SmackDown next week.
Yes.
And then, yeah, so he made his return last week. He wasn't there tonight, and then he'll be there next week. Also, I guess hopefully AJ Styles will be there next week, so we can have the first like face to face in person confrontation with him in LA Knight, because I think it will be. I think it's going to be AJ Styles and LA Knight at WrestleMania. I know we had talked about before maybe LA Knight and Logan Paul, and LA Knight takes the title then at WrestleMania, but
Yeah.
I think the way they're going, Randy Orton and Logan, and I could see if that being the match, I could see Logan retaining and just taking his U.S. title run
Yeah.
even further. He's at like 120 or 150 days, somewhere in that time frame.
Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
given that he hasn't defended it much, I want to see him defend it more since he is moving into a more full time role.
Yeah, I
Um,
especially think those, we've seen Gunther be super active. I'm not like a big fan of the main titles changing that much, but the US title and that Intercontinental title, outside of Gunther, I feel like that should change a lot or at least be defended, way more than it is.
yeah, and maybe they're working up to that since the Logan's his first televised match on SmackDown, not last week, but maybe the week before that. It wasn't that great,
Right.
which it's fine. It's one of those things that he has to work on. Um, but yeah, I agree. The Intercontinental title. I know that on Raw they last week they made it official. This Monday there's going to be a gauntlet match to determine Gunther's challenger. We can
Mhm.
talk more about that whenever we get into the breakdown for what WrestleMania has so far and what we know about it so far.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, either my picks would be either Gable or Sami Zayn to be the guy to challenge Gunther, and I would love Gable to be the one to beat him. He deserves it for all the stuff that he's been doing over the last couple years, and
Mhm.
what he's been doing this year and last year alone.
Yeah. Yeah. We all know who I want it to be, but I would like Ilya to get there. But if they have him lose before that, then I have a feeling that Sami Zayn is it's going to be him. I'd
Yeah.
prefer it to be Chad Gable, but I think if it's going to be like, okay, he's definitely going to lose it, then I feel like they'd rather put it on maybe a Sami Zayn, who already has like a lot of momentum since they are split him from Kevin Owens. Chad
Yeah.
Gable's still kind of tied to the Alpha Academy stuff. So I don't know if they'd put a title on just one of those guys. Maybe they could make them tag titles again, tag champs again at some point. But I
Yeah.
feel like if it's Sami Zayn, then that's a clear sign that he'll win, possibly, but maybe not. Gunther could keep it for a while. I think it's time to work Gunther into that, heavyweight mix or whatever. But yeah, I think he will lose it. Well, we're not into it yet, but WrestleMania stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it'll probably be Chad Gable or Sami Zayn. I don't even know who everybody in that match is.
Yeah. I know they had
Three,
they had
maybe.
shown it. They had showed it last week, and I had the graphic. I'll pull it up whenever I see the Raw because I think they probably already have it advertised for Raw this Monday.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just finishing out SmackDown. They showed AJ Styles. I guess he wasn't there. He did a pre-taped vignette or was a recorded one, whatever, from wherever he was. And then they showed LA Knight saying, you should be a man and show up next week. He took the chair, took out a TV. They went into Wade Barrett saying, I hope we have, or Corey Graves said, I hope we have Progressive insurance because we're going to need to take a claim for the TV or whatever,
Mm,
just to kind of be funny. And then we saw, I guess, Io cut a promo on Bailey saying something about Io's era. She did it in Japanese, so I didn't understand it. I don't know why she would do a promo in Japanese whenever she's facing Bailey, who's obviously, I mean, I know she picked up Japanese as over the year as they were
yeah.
trash talking her, but they have Dakota Kai there to be the mouthpiece, so let her be the mouthpiece.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that matchup was made official too, right? Dakota Kai versus Bailey next Friday.
yep,
I think I
yep,
saw that.
yep,
Yeah, I like that. I hope. Well, I'm still getting ahead of ourselves with Mania stuff, but yeah, I like that matchup for Mania, of course, and then just be interesting to see what kind of build up they do. Hopefully, they let Dakota talk more,
yeah,
since she is more fluent in the language, so it makes sense.
yeah. From there, I think it was either before or after the Bailey segment with Io. Um, they went into Bianca and Naomi backstage. This is where they were pointing out, oh, they're teasing a Bianca heel turn. I
Yeah,
missed the ending of it, so that was that. And then of course we get to the main event, which was it was one of my favorite parts of the show, if not my favorite part. You made a short about it. Cody got his slap back and
yes, he did.
slapped the taste out of the Rock, and um, everything is boiling down. They accepted the challenge. So night one of WrestleMania, as we get into what we have now for the show of all shows, it will be night one, Cody and Seth against Roman and The Rock. If Cody and Seth win, the main event on night two will be Bloodline free, and if Roman and Rock win, it'll be Bloodline rules. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
that was broken last week. So your thoughts whenever you heard that last week? I know I was letting you know what was going on that
Mhm.
in that sense. But yeah, I mean, from what we're going to get with the stipulations and everything, and then of course Rock added one more in and said, Cody, if you don't win this time, that's it. You don't get another shot at Roman. So him flexing his board power, everything on
Yeah.
that side, and then Seth coming to him and whatever, and everyone and everything about the segment last night was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if that was the first time, but he actually said it last night where he said, like, "I am your boss." So, I don't know if that's the first time he said it, but he definitely straight up outright mentioned it this time. So just, yeah, leaning in more of that heel executive role, which he's doing pretty well. But, yeah, I like the matchup itself. I don't know that I love it main eventing WrestleMania Night 1. I feel like Rhea kinda deserves that, or Io and Bailey, I think, just to give, the women's division so much more
Yeah,
light. I think they deserve that. But yeah, it doesn't seem it's like when else do you do it, right? Like maybe, because I don't know the positions of all the matches yet. Maybe it could open the very first. I don't know. But the match itself will be solid. It's interesting with Seth Rollins, though. He has this injury, but now he's going to have 2 matches in 2 days. And I don't know if he's going to have anything before that. So I'm a little worried. If I'm him, I'm worried about that knee and stuff still, unless he's, advancing more than we know.
No, so last Monday on Raw, he came out and told Cody and the fans there at Raw that he was 100% cleared medically.
Oh,
The knee's okay.
dang.
So full
Yeah,
steam to him having two matches, him finally getting to main event WrestleMania for the
mm,
first time in his career, which is awesome.
yeah,
Um,
but not entirely though. Not solely him though. He gets. I feel like that gets taken away a little bit, right?
no, no, no. I mean, the tag match last year that main event in night one, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, the Usos,
Yeah,
they still all got to main event WrestleMania. If you're in that main, if you're part of the main event, I mean, I think it's pretty
yeah,
much set. You are the main event. It's like Becky, Charlotte,
yeah.
and Ronda. They were the first women to ever main event WrestleMania. But then
Right,
you can say, Becky was the first woman to ever win the main event of WrestleMania.
right. That's true.
Um,
If I'm Seth Rollins though, I still want my own match
yeah,
at some point. I'm sure he still wants that, but
yeah,
yeah, it doesn't take away from it necessarily, but it's still something he doesn't have.
yeah. I agree on that one.
Yeah,
I do agree that Rhea and Becky, or even I think more so Bailey and Io should be that main event for night one. Given
yeah,
that Rhea just had the main event in Australia, so
right.
that's kind of her
He did get
WrestleMania
mhm,
more than anything. Um,
especially in her home country.
exactly. But Io and Bailey and the whole damage control thing, I think that's the best story on the women's side of things. So that absolutely deserves and should be the main event. But
Mhm,
given that this will be Roman's seventh main event on night one, which will tie him for Hogan and his record, and then he'll break that record on night two
mm,
with 8 in his career. I think
right.
that's
Maybe
kind of
that's
the reason why
yeah,
they're doing it.
yeah, yeah. No, that'll be good. Do we know when is the Seth and Drew then? I don't know if we know the actual
So
positioning of some of those matches
from
yet, or
from Wikipedia, I guess what they've kind of um, said on commentary when talking about the matches and whatnot and how it's going to shake out. Um, Night one, we just have the Bloodline, Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins for the stipulations that we had said before. And then night two will obviously be Seth Rollins and Drew for the World Heavyweight title, and then Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed title.
mm,
Um, and then the other three matches that we do have, but we don't have a night for yet, is Io Sky and Bailey for the Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch for the Women's World Championship, and then Gunther versus the Gauntlet match winner for the Intercontinental Championship. And then the Gauntlet match that will happen on Monday on Raw will feature Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, JD McDonough, Ricochet, Sami Zayn, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
yeah, yeah, usual suspects. But yeah, we both agree probably Chad Gable or Sammy will win that.
Yeah,
Be interesting to see because I think they're ready for Gunther to drop that title. So I'm just gonna assume that whoever wins that gauntlet match will win. Not necessarily, of course, but that's what I would predict.
yeah, and then they can go from there. I think once they get the world title figured out, the heavyweight title figured out, if it's going to stay on Seth, if it's going to go to Drew, if Damien's going to cash in and end this horrific Money in the Bank non-story having run of him before it would expire in July,
Yeah,
then I think Gunther can be catapulted above whoever else, and then it will lead into Gunther probably winning that title at Bash in Berlin if he
mm,
is the Intercontinental title champion. If he's not, it does. I think ultimately him winning the world title in Berlin in Germany, everything being that international premium live event, I think that's the direction they're going to go. And then if and when CM Punk would come back before that and have his match with Drew, as if Drew's champion or with Seth, there's so many different variables in
yeah.
that
When's the
title
Bash in
picture.
Berlin supposed to be?
August 31st, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I know it's the end of August. Yeah, August 31st, and then I believe SummerSlam is going to be August 3rd. So they're going to do two events, premium live events in August, I believe, or it's that last weekend in July, one of the two.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there, it goes into, SummerSlam and then Bash in Berlin, and then it rolls into their probably another Saudi show, and then of course Survivor Series, and then no premium live event in December as they do. Yeah, there's so much to think about with CM Punk when he's going to come back, Seth Rollins and him. Seth Rollins has a contract coming up after WrestleMania, so does Drew, but Drew got time added back onto it. So, I mean, who knows what's going to go down? It's an exciting time for everything about WWE. WrestleMania is the best time of the year, and then the Raw after Mania, who knows what's going to happen there?
Yeah.
Obviously, no Sasha Banks return because we know big business is this Wednesday, and it's in Boston. There's going to be a boss. It's so exciting for her. And on the AEW side of things, and what they're doing, adding another pay-per-view as well. From that side, we just round out Raw, and then we can jump into a little preview of Three Legacies and their Downtown Showdown.
Sure.
Also on Raw for this Monday, Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. A lot of people are trying to twist that and do the We Want Liv the same way they did We Want Cody. But it's just not working. I'm a big Liv fan, but I think Becky deserves this moment at WrestleMania. If she wins, I'll be happy. If she loses, I'll be still happy that Rhea is killing it and on top. At that point, she'll be champion for a full year. So you got to think at that point by WrestleMania, if Jade Cargill isn't on the show, she'll be ready enough to have an appearance and maybe that face-to-face with Rhea after the match, since we still don't know, is Jade on SmackDown, is Jade on Raw? Right. Obviously, her appearance at the Rumble was fantastic, but she's just not ready to be on the main event yet. So they're keeping her training in the Performance Center versus just throwing her in NXT, which I do like. Right. And then we have Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team championships.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thought. Like you said, the usual suspects in that lackluster of a tag team division for the women's side, and it's not their fault. It's just the tag titles. They cycle through the same 2 or 3 teams, and then the same 2 or 3 teams get hurt, and then it goes back to the final one who's never hurt. Yeah, so who knows if that's what like we said about before, the women's side of things going into WrestleMania. Who knows what they're going to do? I think it's time to add a women's mid-card title to the mix. And I saw on Twitter someone said do a China Memorial Battle Royal for the first ever women's Intercontinental title, since she held the Intercontinental title before.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't hate that idea. I think they obviously have the roster to do it. It's just a matter of how they'll use it, or if it'll just kind of fall by the wayside like these women's tag. Like you said, they haven't really been relevant since pretty much Sasha and Bayley, honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
they could do more, I think, with it. There's so many, even all the ladies in NXT. Like, I think there's so many teams they could put together. It's just a matter of how do you decide who gets TV, who doesn't? Like Shayna and Zoe is new, but that's still confusing as far as are they heels? Are they not? I don't really like Zoe. They're both really good in the ring, neither great on the mic. Shayna's voice drives me nuts. But yeah, that whole division, like we've talked about, is, not impressing, anybody.
Yeah. And it's almost gotten to be the same point with the men's tag team division, which also on
lately
one of the shows last week, I think it was SmackDown, Nick Aldis had said about that they're going to be making an announcement about the tag titles soon. So hopefully that's, them splitting them up and we figure out what they're going to do. My guess would be a tournament for each side, and then the finals would take place at WrestleMania. So then that could also possibly mean the Judgment Day would have 2 matches as well. If that would be the way that they go, or just have them relinquish the SmackDown titles and then they just keep the Raw ones and then they just do a tournament for SmackDown. Hopefully, however they do it, it just rejuvenates the tag team division, and then they can kind of do the same thing with the women. Get establish tag teams and keep them that way.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
the Kabuki Warriors does add a little value to that because it adds value to their whole faction. But as far as
yeah,
their competition and like the whole women's tag division
yeah,
goes, there's not really a division for it.
yeah. But at the same time, it's like, okay, whenever they're, if they're building a feud for the tag titles, the Kabuki Warrior, they're not gonna, be that good on the mic to have
Right.
the promos and the back and forth leading up to the match. They're gonna need Dakota there to again be the mouthpiece of
Yeah.
Damage Control. Um, yeah, I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out and figure out hopefully when they're going to split the tag titles, and then if they are or whatever, add a women's mid card title and everything like that.
Mhm.
So jumping out from WWE side of things and into Three Legacies Wrestling Downtown Showdown, March 30th, your return match to Lancaster at the Convention
Yeah.
Center. 6:45 bell time for the pre-show match. Jarl Mathalis versus Byron Simmons is there
Kilt
with
Man.
that first one.
Yeah. Byron Simmons is known as the Kilt Man, I believe. I don't know.
Okay.
I've seen him in some student showcase matches. I wonder if that's his debut on an actual card though, because I can't remember seeing him. He's a big fan favorite. He like rips off the kilt, and he has like a big old belly with his Speedo, so he's kind of funny to look at. But
Okay.
so I wonder if that's his actual debut for a show. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I'm excited to see new faces on the card, and of course what they were building it around being that the culmination of the first ever 3LW tag team champions will be named. We got Dog Nation versus Agents of Chaos, but however, last night, of course, we saw that Ricardo is having to take himself out and give Smiley a new partner.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I think they did show it they had another graphic there, but now Ricardo will be facing Kevin Murphy in a Lancaster street fight at Downtown Showdown, which I did say about that at the last one at Love Hurts, which was awesome. I enjoyed the way that they did that and had that set up, and I think that's going to be really good. From there, we go to, of course, Mike Skyros and Tarzan Duran. I think that is going to be, his stuff in the ring. Your interview with him was great. Every time I get to see and talk to him at the events, it's fantastic. Just like talking to everyone is.
I don't recognize the other guy. I wonder. I don't know. I don't know if he's a 3LW student making his debut or if he is just an indie guy. I'm not familiar with him, but yeah, love Tarzan. He's definitely a heel, but still gets cheered, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So he makes
definitely a fan favorite
for sure.
Also another thing that they announced, the June show has changed to the June show 3LW Come Alive has changed to June 29th.
Yes.
So, and they're going to announce a new location for the event. Hopefully soon.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a week later. I think it was originally the 23rd, now the 29th.
Okay.
But yeah, that's interesting to see where that'll end up.
Yeah. From there, we have another tag team match. We got Al De Niro, Prince Piranha versus General Kiesel and Ace Dallas. I saw, I think all four of these guys at Love Hurts. General Kiesel and Ace Dallas were in a tag match. I like their entrances. I haven't seen those two before. It was the match was great. The entire card, everything about it. All four of these guys look great. And I'm excited to see them go at it again, this time in a tag team match.
Yeah, that team, General Kiesel and
Ace Dallas
are also gonna showcase in that the week of WrestleMania. Three Legacies has that spot. I think it's April 4th or April 5th. It's like one of those weekdays leading up to it.
Yeah, April 5th. I'm looking at another graphic, the All for One, which will have also featuring the Atlantic All-Star Wrestling Triple Threat Women's Championship match, Jasmine Allure, Journey Burke, and the one and only Zoe Cannon. Also there at WrestleMania weekend, which is great. I wish I could go and help out with that, but gonna hold it down here and be doing streams out the you know what. So
yeah, Yeah, I know. I'm bummed I can't make that either because it's just middle of the week. It's just tough to make. I'll be there
Yeah.
for NXT, but not for. I won't be there like Wednesday or anything like that.
And then speaking of Zoe Cannon, we have Zoe Cannon versus Clara Karanis and a special guest referee of former WWE alumni Vic Crow, which I'm excited to get to meet and talk to her.
Yeah,
Um,
that'll be awesome. I've seen La Chica multiple times in Three Legacies and PPW. Obviously, we've seen Zoe before, so that'll be an interesting matchup with that extra factor of the special guest referee.
yes, and it kind of gets away from Zoe doing the last two matches. We've seen her in have been against Journey Burke, and it can kind of
Yeah,
get away from
that
that and
ongoing feud.
to explore the horizons. And then we go into the 2023 Red Rose Rumble winner J.S. Hawthorne versus Darren Hardway.
Mm,
He teased again last month. Another tease in with the cash in potentially with Broke Heller in the main event yet
yeah,
again.
gotta wonder
Who
if that's coming.
knows? Who knows when? Who knows where? Um, Probably another, maybe another tease will happen after the match. Whenever after Bro's match, we will wait and see. But it was
I'm
a,
gonna
I
predict
mean,
the cash in. I'm gonna go ahead and predict that
oh
we will get the cash in. Downtown Lancaster is gonna be a massive event. I don't have any inside information, I swear, but I'm gonna predict the cash in for that. I think it's gonna be huge. I think they're trying to make that similar in like magnitude to their Red Rose Rumble because it's downtown.
right,
It's
right,
a few months removed from August. Beforehand. So I think J.S. Hawthorne, I don't know if successful or not, but I think he'll attempt to cash in. We don't even know
okay.
what Broke Keller's doing yet, but
Yeah, I
uh,
don't think I don't think his match has been announced. That is the last graphic that we have so far via the 3LW Instagram for Downtown Showdown. But they have a couple more for the All for One WrestleMania weekend. Of course, like we said about before, Dog Nation and General Kiesel and Ace Dallas
yeah,
will happen that weekend. And then the video of Ricardo Rodriguez telling Smiley that he's going to be out of their tag title match, and he will have a new teammate, and hopefully can take those tag titles and become the first ever Three Legacies Wrestling tag
yeah,
title holders.
yeah. We've seen Delirious in Three Legacies before. Delirious is a major indie guy. He's also formerly on TNA and
Okay.
Impact, but he's great too. Another lucha style guy, wears the mask, everything like that. That's a perfect partner for Smiley in lieu of Ricardo having to handle business elsewhere with um, Kevin Murphy.
Yep. Yep. I was that was it was last week whenever that all that unfolded after Ricardo's match, and they made that he made it official and everything like that. And given that the Lancaster Commission of Wrestling was there, showed up again, Karen came back. Um,
Aaron,
that damn Karen.
always, yeah, that lady.
um,
I do want to predict another occurrence for downtown Lancaster. I think, regardless whether Smiley, Delirious, whatever happens with those titles, maybe even in Ricardo's match, I think we haven't seen Big Clayton in a while. We've seen Al Snook, but he was on the pre-shows for the last
right.
couple of months, so
Right.
the fans and YouTube and stuff haven't seen an actual match with Al Snook in a little bit. We saw Al Snook a few months ago turn on Ricardo, so I
Yep.
think we get whether they disrupt his match with Keith or just stop Smiley and Delirious from winning those titles. I think we see Clayton back. I think we see Al Snook back in some capacity at that event also.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait for the end of this month to get down to Lancaster, the convention center. That'll be my first time there. The only events that I've been to have both been at Millersville. I can't wait to see different venues and the different setup that goes into that, and
Yeah.
just help out any other way that I can. And then going into, of course, the May show, I believe we're back at Millersville, or maybe that's at Brightside, one of the two. And then, of course,
Mhm.
June with the location of that one be announced soon. And then leading into the August show at the Clippers or the Barnstormers Stadium, which I'm excited to see that one and kind of do more do more kickoff shows. Hopefully we can talk to Ronnie, everything like that,
Yeah.
and get that set up. But this was a great way to wrap up episode 58 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast.
I thought you wanted
Stay
to talk about
tuned.
your boy.
What's that?
I thought you wanted to talk about your boy Jake.
Oh, that's right. So saving the best for last. The massive announcement that I saw the other day that I couldn't believe it. I was getting ready to lay down for work, and then my friend Indy from school, she texted me and said, "How excited are you?" And I was
She
like,
broke
"What?"
it. The news for you.
She broke it to me.
Wow.
So I was like, "What are you talking about?" Jake announced his next fight. Of course, I open up Twitter. First thing I see, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, MVP, Netflix, the whole thing, July 20th.
Yeah.
Massive.
What about the Netflix thing first? That is huge.
Yeah. So, what do you think that's going to do for the pay-per-view method? Like so many, combat sports do.
Right.
UFC, ESPN Plus, PFL, ESPN Plus. Normally, boxing is on DAZN or ESPN Plus.
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden they're taking a page out of WWE and going the streaming service route.
Yeah.
And this will also be good for WWE fans to see how Netflix handles live sports, given
Mhm.
that this will be the first live sport on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, I think they did a tennis match already that was apparently live stream. I didn't watch it. They had a Rafael Nadal tennis match that was on Netflix already. And if you go back and look now, it says live streamed on. It was like March 3rd or something. So I don't know.
Okay.
I guess that was successful. I didn't see anything, that went wrong or anything
Yeah.
about it. So maybe that technically was the first one. I didn't watch it, but yeah, this will be the first one I'm watching. I'll definitely tune in. I wouldn't buy it otherwise, but I already have Netflix. I'm gonna watch it for the spectacle. I think it's nothing more than like, a circus. I understand it, the entertainment value. Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the sport of boxing would not have as many eyes on it as it does if Jake and Logan, I guess I'll give credit to KSI, wouldn't have started this whole crossover influencer at the time. Influencer, now I think we can kind of call it the crossover boxing scene of
Sure.
people from different aspects, given it be entertainment, given it be other sports coming into the world of boxing. As we know, Le'Veon Bell, for example, he did boxing as his cardio workout when he was in the NFL. So yeah, he might not be a boxer from the age of 5 or 6, like some of these guys, whatever.
Right.
But it's not like they're throwing him a pair of boxing gloves and saying, "Hey, get in the ring," and then he's doing it. A lot of them have the prior knowledge, have the basic skills to then get in and have coaches around them, have a team around them to help them get to another level where they can go and be on a pay-per-view and not go out there and look silly. Then you have it on the other side, the Misfits thing, and you have them making tag team boxing matches, which is absolute. That's a joke. That's a circus act.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad Jake has stayed away from that side of it. The last 3 out of 4 fights since he fought Tommy Fury, then Nate Diaz, and then the last 2, Ryan Borland and Andre August. The last 3 out of 4 fights he's had have all been boxers, which everyone was saying fight a real boxer. And then he does, and now he's still getting hate. People are just finding any excuse to hate him, and on him, on MVP, what they're doing for the sport of boxing with Amanda Serrano, Shadaza Green, Juana Walton, the 17-year-old youngest Jordan athlete ever. On the last fight, he did end up tying. I don't necessarily agree with it. But yeah, I mean, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, July 20th.
Yeah.
Live on Netflix. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait for the first press conference. Hopefully they announce more on that soon, and then we just start to see both sides promoting this fight. No word on if it's going to be a professional bout or just an exhibition. Either way, it's going to be fun to watch. Maybe fight of the year boxing wise.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there's no other big names in the sport of boxing that are going to have and bring the eyes to the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
Like a Jake Paul, like a Mike Tyson, obviously the legend that he is. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I just wonder the thinking in the opponent. Like, I was hoping he stayed, whether they were the, people joking on the non-experienced fighters. I liked at least that he was fighting actual boxers. So I actually gave him more respect for going that route. I thought that's what he was gonna continue to do.
Yeah,
And then maybe do some of these like spectacles. Like I'd love to see him fight a Mike Perry or even
right.
Rampage Jackson isn't, but like 58-year-old Mike Tyson. I just don't see, it's almost lose-lose, like, because if he wins, then it's like, okay, that's cool to say that you beat Mike Tyson, but not the real Mike Tyson. And then if he loses, it's a loss. So it's kind of, I do kind of give him credit in a way that I see it as lose lose. It's
Yeah,
good experience, I guess. I just don't see like the logic in it. I'd rather see him fight a no name boxer and get that actual more experience. Mike Tyson's still obviously no joke, but I don't think it's like I don't find it to be like an accolade in any way. Not at this point.
yeah. I mean, and that's fair to say, but at the same
Yeah.
time, so like Jake has said in the press conferences after the Andre August fight, the Ryan Borland fight, he's going to keep doing, fighting on the most valuable prospects events, which are non-pay-per-view. If you have a DAZN subscription, you get them for free. And then if the big money fights show up, they'll do them and he'll put them on.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Maybe
why.
it's just a matter of whoever says yes first. Like maybe he is reaching out to
Exactly.
these other guys, and Mike just happened to say yes first, and
Exactly.
he's getting paid,
Um,
so props to him too. But
exactly.
yeah, I guess I was thinking it's like he's Jake Paul, he can fight whoever he wants, but probably not all these guys are saying yes. So it's like Mike Tyson agreed. It's a big
Exactly.
money fight. But yeah, I like obviously that route if he keeps going, like you said, doing both angles. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought for sure, I know he said he was going to take time off. I figured the Tommy Fury rematch would be the next one.
Yeah, me too.
So when I saw the Mike Tyson one, I'm like, this is out of left field for me
Yeah,
at least. But I mean, I think it brings two generations of boxing together, and Jake being the future 27, getting into the sport later in life for what a boxer would be, I guess, and him getting into the sport right in his prime to be in the sport versus Mike Tyson, who again, legendary career.
97,000 years old.
Regardless, if it was anyone else, it would be oh, this is great for the sport of boxing. But no, because it's Jake
Yeah.
Paul. He's getting dragged through the mud. The
Yeah,
event's
I
getting
think it'd be a spectacle either way. Like I thought Mike Tyson was gonna fight Shannon Briggs, who's also like a 60-year-old boxer. I would still
yeah.
think that's a circus too.
Yeah.
So,
So
but yeah,
I mean, like 4 years ago, Jake fought on the undercard of Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.
yeah,
When he knocked out Nate Robinson. So it's also kind of a full circle moment for those two specifically,
right.
event wise, being that fight was in the Staples Center with the staff and crew and coaches and whatnot, and
Mhm.
then now it's going to be AT&T Stadium, home of the Cowboys,
Massive,
um,
yeah, arena.
80,000 plus.
Yeah,
So, it's everything about it from, someone who is not going to just look for any reason to hate.
yeah,
And you can say the age about it, whatever, but obviously Mike Tyson is well enough to say yes and
yeah.
not worried about his age. So I don't think anyone else should be worried about it either. We got another comment. What's up, Butterfly? That's from
Uh,
the network there. 3 likes. That's
yeah,
awesome.
sweet.
As we wrap up here. But yeah, so I'm excited for that fight. Can't wait to see who they bring onto the card if they get Amanda Serrano back into the ring on that event, since she wasn't able to main event in in Puerto Rico at the last one. Butterfly, I think Tyson will say yes for the money. I mean, that's very, very real possibility.
Yeah,
Who
I'm
wouldn't
sure.
say yes to probably the massive, massive amount of money that they're going to get for fighting on Netflix and, just the two names.
Yeah, I would do it, and I know I would get knocked out, and I would still take that
Exactly.
payday. Like,
Exactly.
so
Cool. Like, and that's the thing. All the haters that are going to drag all the events that they do through the mud,
yeah,
would
they're hitting
would
on all
say
the things anyway. It's not just this one.
would
So,
say yes. So,
right.
um, I'm excited for it. I wouldn't be a boxing fan if it wasn't for events like this. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's
I
fair to say.
mean,
I don't know the last time I watched a boxing fight outside of those Logan or Jake. I mean, I watched uh, Haney and Garcia, but it's only those types of guys going against each other. I don't care for any of
Exactly.
those guys to fight contenders just because I don't like
Exactly.
boxing that much. But
And
yeah,
then you got like all the, all the WBC and Tyson Fury and Nagano and Anthony. They're putting on events over in Saudi Arabia which are at 2 or 3 in the afternoon here, so no one's watching them here.
right.
Um, so it's like, why? Like, and then of course Jake and Tommy Fury was over in Saudi Arabia, which I still watched it. But it's like, if they could try to make and put more eyes on the sport if they had massive events here in the States and build it up properly. But
Right.
That's the old regime of boxing promoters and how they do it versus what Jake is doing with Most Valuable Promotions and
Yeah.
having the Prospect Series and everything about that. But yeah, more news on that to come as they announce matches for it, as they announce press events for it, and as we get closer and closer to July 20th. I can't wait for it. So yeah, let the people know where they can find you, and then we will jump out of here and see everyone back at 8 o'clock for UFC 299.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, we'll be back tonight. But just all my stuff, Apples and Grapes Media, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, even though I'm not really active on there. But yeah, just everywhere else, mostly YouTube, interviews and shorts, things like that. But more importantly, this live stream tonight, UFC 299, back with yourself, and can't wait for that. It's going to be super stacked card. Arguably, the main event is better than UFC 300, but throughout, it's solid throughout as well.
Yeah, I agree fully. Got to get you active on the Facebook. Got to figure out your Facebook page
I know. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that all that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we will wrap there and pick it up at 8 o'clock for UFC 299. Thank you for everyone who jumped out of the stream, stayed here. Thank you, Butterfly, for letting us know about the analytics there on the network side. And thank you, Next Shift. Hopefully we can get you the link. You can pop in, pop out, stay a while. We're good for anything. And yeah, we'll catch you later.